Good evening. The Ione Planning Commission welcomes, appreciates, and encourages participation in the Ione Planning Commission meeting. The Planning Commission reserves the right to reasonably limit the time for the public comment on any particular agenda item as it may deem necessary. Full staff reports and associated documents are available. I am so sorry. And we are going to start with the flag salute. Please stand. Raise your right hand. It's my second time doing this today, so I apologize. I already did it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Documents are available, and we will call the meeting to order.
Commissioner Gebhardt?
Present.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Present.
Commissioner Hoyska?
Present.
And then we have Commissioner Smith and Hopkins out.
Do I have an approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar. Agenda, excuse me.
Madam Chair, if I could make a comment. I listened to the recording of last month's meeting, and it was my understanding from that recording that the Planning Commission continued the public hearing on the short-term rental ordinance. Since that isn't shown on this agenda, I think that that agenda item is improperly noticed and should be deferred until the February meeting when we can reflect that the public hearing was continued, to give up people an opportunity that might have thought that the public hearing was already closed.
Well, I could make a motion, we table this meeting.
I'll second
I
that.
would, yes.
Sorry to get you all out of bed.
Since the meeting was open, I think we should let people make public comment if they want to.
So we have a motion to table the agenda but still hold the public comment. I just want to make sure I'm following protocol.
I think what we're doing is we're tabling, we're actually continuing item H so that it can be shown under public hearing on the next agenda, but the rest of the agenda is okay.
Perfect. So we still need to have an approval of the agenda with the amendment to item H
That
to
would be good.
continue
Yeah.
the agenda, and that way we can still carry forward our format. Okay. So do we have
I would so move.
I'll second that.
okay, approved.
Well,
Or, I'm sorry, wait, we didn't take a vote, I'm sorry. Well, no, but we have a,
it's not a vote.
well, yeah, there's
You
only,
can second, but still vote against it.
right.
That's true.
But,
So-
well, I'm going to,
But
So
we
Paul-
still have to have public comment.
Right.
Oh, yeah, actually on everything.
Yeah.
well, and then we have to read the time for the, I mean, I know it's like our second meeting of the day, so it's all already been read for folks attending, but we should keep records properly. So, so the approval of the agenda, we have a motion and we have a second. Do we have a vote?
So all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we're going to approve and accept the agenda, and the presentations and announcements are, with the exception of April's comment on the approval of the agenda. And bringing us to public comment, item G. This is the time for members of the public who wish to be heard on matters that do not appear on the agenda. Persons may address the Ione Planning Commission at this time. Any subject within the jurisdiction of the Ione Planning Commission, please be mindful of the 4-minute time frame pursuant to the Brown Act. The Planning Commission may not take action or encourage in a detailed discussion on an item that does not appear on the agenda. However, matters that require commission action will be referred to staff for a report and or recommendation for possible action at a future meeting. And we have Mr. Strasberg, who would
I just have a quick question.
Oh, of course. Wish to
So
address.
we're just tabling on the action. You guys aren't taking any action. You're just going to table it until February.
We were going to table it to a future agenda for the next scheduled
Okay,
meeting.
I'd just like to say I appreciate that, because I'd like to look at it a little more, so thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
All I gotta say is I was reading my paperwork when I bought my house on Spring Creek. And in Spring Creek subdivision, there's no businesses allowed. And everybody that bought a house there, they recorded it at the county, I think it was 89 or something like that. So when you bought a house, you got all this paperwork, tells you can't do this, can't do that. So as far as I know, the rentals, that's a business. So they couldn't do that in Spring Creek subdivision. And I'll try to get up to the county and get the original copy, and then I'll give it to her. But I have a copy of it, but I got it from my neighbor. Okay, thank you.
Andy, before you go, was that an agreement with the city, or that was just,
When
that was?
the city should have got the paper, when he recorded it at the county, every partial, that was recorded in with the partial. You know, like you're only supposed to paint your house, you're not supposed to have a fence, but nobody does, and, you know, lets people do what they want. But I know we were gonna have a hairdresser in there, and we took up a petition, and she couldn't do it. And I think the only way you can get rid of that agreement is have everybody vote on it to get rid of it. Because it's recorded on the deed. You know,
I think, I mean, I probably shouldn't be discussing
No,
this right now, but to me, and April, correct me if I'm wrong, this is comparable to, you know, out to various developments around the golf course where they have supposedly their own agreements, but they've never elected anybody to enforce them. The city, just say for instance, somebody in your subdivision down there wanted to put one of these in, and they applied for a variance. The way I understand it, there's your remedy, but that's separate than the city. The city can't enforce that. However, the way that we're doing this, to where all, you know, the neighbors have to, in order to do it in an area that's not allowed, you have to apply for a variance, which means that all the neighbors, yes,
CUP.
yes,
Okay, just clarifying.
sorry, yes.
yeah, all the
I missed
neighbors.
the
and
last
Which
that.
means all the, yeah, yeah.
There's like
All the neighbors have to be notified, and, you know, and if that should happen, I think that's the way the city would probably have to go, and then you could get everybody down there to come in and say, you know, they've already agreed, and I think the chances of granting the CUP would be negligible at best.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is the city itself isn't bound by your agreement. It's a separate thing.
Yeah, because it's on it, they recorded it when he subdivided it. The
Yeah.
city probably had the paperwork too.
If somebody ever
You know,
does that, bring it in, you know.
I never thought anything about it, but a guy bought a house and, they give him the paperwork. And this has been, what, 2-3 years ago, he bought a house and they give the
Huh. Okay.
realtor had to give him the paperwork. See, and it doesn't say you have to have a committee or anything. It's just the rules that he made on each partial. And when you buy the house, you sign the deal and you agreed to what his agreement was.
So it sounds like maybe it's a deed restriction and not a
Yeah.
CCNO.
Right.
Yeah, it was, that way people, you know, couldn't do whatever they wanted, kind of control them a little bit. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's no other public comments, we'll close that portion and move on to our regular agenda.
So I think it's to me for city planner reports, and I just wanted to let you know that in February, I will be bringing a revised accessory dwelling unit ordinance forward to comply with the additional requirements of the state that went into effect on January 1st, so we try to keep up with these. And in addition to that, I mean, there's a lot of other housing legislation, so I'll try to keep you in the loop on that. And then in March, we will have the annual progress report that goes to HCD on our compliance with the housing element and how we're doing with our housing development in the city. So we have agendas for the next 2 months for sure. So next month, we'll actually have 2 ordinances on that agenda, so it'll be a busy agenda. Other than that, I'm sorry that I was gone. I feel like there was a little disconnect with the person that came in my place. I'm not sure that what came to the commission was really what I thought was coming to the commission. So we can sort that all out at our next meeting and make sure that the ordinance that we're looking at is accurately reflecting what the planning commission wants to do. And it was crummy being sick, and I'm glad to be back.
We're glad to have you back. So we are to look at the proposed zoning code text amendment. At our next meeting, so everything is just shelved, so then I just move to adjournment?
Yep.
Okay, then we're adjourned, folks.
Thank you.
Okay.